What's going on, people, and welcome back to We Are Tottenham TV for another episode of Predict the Prem, where we're going to take a look at this weekend's games, do our predictions, and we have our scores as well, keeping tally. It is now 89 points to Simeon, 77 points to me, and the way the scoring works, it is 5 points for a correct scoreline, 3 points for a correct result and both teams to score, 1 point for a correct result, and then we have our star men as well, where we pick a man each week, and if they score it's 2 points, and if they assist it is 1 point. So let's get straight into it, and the first game of the weekend is Manchester United at home to Everton. What are you going for, Sim, in this one?
I went 2-0 Man United.
Ooh, I went 2-1.
2-1. I've gone for Man United. I've gone for a lot of Man United clean sheets. Haven't paid off so far, but I think with Everton, I think, look, Man United struggled big time against Villarreal midweek. They should have lost that game. They got very lucky to win it. But I think coming up against Everton, who are not as good a side in my opinion, I still think if Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin are still missing, I know they beat Norwich without them, but they didn't really impress me in that game despite the victory. I think they're going to struggle to get a goal in this game. I think Rondon hasn't really done it so far. I don't really think he's going to trouble Man United. And I think they've done all right so far in the wrap up. They're still quite pragmatic, so I don't think they're going to get that too many opportunities to score, in my opinion. So that's why I've gone 2-0.
I feel like both of these teams have pretty much hit stumbling blocks in the last couple of weeks. Everton had a really good start to the season. They've come undone the last couple of weeks, albeit they did beat Norwich last week. Manchester United as well, which is quite interesting. I think that in the last couple of weeks they haven't been as good as they were in the previous weeks, struggling against Villarreal, struggling against Aston Villa. So I do think Man United will just about do it, but I think it'll be a closer game than people expect. And I think Everton, they are better away from home than they are at home, but I'm going to go for them to get a goal. But I think Man United, maybe Cristiano Ronaldo might do it in the last minute again for them, but Man United will just about to get over the line for me. But I do think both teams will score. Let's move on to Burnley against Norwich. I have gone for 1-0 to Burnley.
1-0 Burnley, I've gone 1-0. So both teams are still winless, right? After 6 games.
Yeah.
Both looking for their first victory, and I think both teams are going to... the search will go on, I think.
So the search will go on, not the show will go on, just the search will go on.
The search will go on.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I've gone for 1-0 to Burnley because I feel like I've watched Burnley the last couple of weeks, and actually they're not as bad as their results suggest, in my opinion. And I think that Norwich, they are just sleepwalking back down to the Championship, in my opinion. They're the worst team in the league, and I think Burnley are a much better side than them, but I think the pragmatism of Burnley will show through in this game, so I think they'll just about win 1-0. I think Burnley, they'll do enough to get 3 points this weekend for sure.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I mean, look, you're right, because Burnley played really well against Leicester last week, played quite well for an hour against Everton the week before. Arsenal, they could have got a point as well. So they're playing okay at the moment, Burnley, but I think Norwich have got to get a point from somewhere, and I reckon this is where they'll start.
Yeah, but also Burnley got to get a win from somewhere as well. And Sean Dyche, he always keeps Burnley up. So I think that Burnley will definitely be looking at this game and thinking they should be getting 3 points.
Of course they will.
Anyway, let's move on to Chelsea against Southampton. Sim?
2-0 Chelsea.
Ooh, I've gone 3-0 Chelsea.
I think, Chelsea of late, lost to Juventus in what was quite a bad performance, 1-0 yesterday. Yeah. And they obviously lost to Man City in what was also
that bad display,
poor performance. So 2 poor performances in a row. So I don't know if they're getting, look, 2 hard games, let's be honest, but they would have thought they would have done better than they did. But I think they'll come back to winning ways against Southampton. But Southampton as well looked decent in recent times. I know they just lost to Wolves, but it was only 1-0. They've got a few 0-0 draws against Man United and Man City, or 2 draws, so I think they'll put up a fight, but it'll be 2-0.
Yeah, I think just Chelsea are going to come back. They're going to want to react to their last 2 defeats. Well, not defeats, but defeats. Last 2 defeats against Juventus and against Man City. I think they're definitely going to be reacting. Lukaku's going to be on the goal trail this weekend, and I can't see anything for Southampton, so that's why I've gone 3-0. Let's move on. The next game is Leeds against Watford. I have gone for 3-2 to Leeds.
I've gone 3-0.
Ooh, 3-0.
Yeah, I've gone for Leeds to win and a clean sheet, and they obviously played quite well for an hour or so against West Ham last week, but not getting the victory. But if they start the game like they did against West Ham against Leeds, I reckon they'll blow them away. And Watford, obviously, with Sarr, always a threat. but I reckon they're going to restrict. They're not going to be able to, with the way Leeds press so intensely. I reckon they're just going to bully Watford. So for 3-0.
I think this is going to be a great game for the neutral. I think it's going to be goals flying in left, right and centre this one. We've seen that in a few Watford games this season. We haven't really seen that in many Leeds games this season as we have done last season. So I think that Leeds are going to get back to basics this weekend with a win. But I do feel like they're going to concede a few goals. Like you said, Ismaila Sarr is good enough to give anyone problems, and especially this Leeds defence. So I think Watford can find a goal or two. Maybe 3-1 was a fair result, but I've gone for 3-2. I think that this fixture is going to throw a lot of goals, so I've gone for 3-2 to Leeds. Wolves against Newcastle, what have you gone for?
2-1 to Wolves.
Oof, I've gone for 1-1, and my reasoning behind this is that I think Newcastle have looked good. They've really looked good the last couple of weeks. Wolves, mixed bag really. Sometimes they look good, sometimes they don't look too good. They're not scoring many goals, but on the other hand, they're not really conceding that many goals either. But I think this one is going to shape up for a 1-1 draw with Newcastle just about doing enough at Molineux. And they haven't won at Molineux, right, this season yet?
Wolves haven't. No, they haven't. They're both wins have been away from
I know
home.
Newcastle haven't.
Yeah, Newcastle haven't. You said Newcastle.
I said that, yeah. Well, I said they, but yeah.
So I think Wolves will win this one, in my opinion. I think that Newcastle will be very annoyed they didn't get a win last week against Watford. They should have really won that game with the chances they had. But coming into this one, I reckon they'll get a goal. But Wolves, I think they're starting to find a bit of rhythm again. Jimenez starting to find the back of the net. So I think they're going to win this one 2-1.
Interesting. Brighton against Arsenal. I've gone for 2-1 to Brighton.
2-1 Brighton. Have you predicted Arsenal's win any game yet?
No.
I've gone for.
No, I did against Norwich and Burnley. Against Norwich, I did, not against Burnley.
Yeah, that's right. I've gone for 2-2. 2-2 in this one.
Yeah.
I think that Arsenal are riding high after the victory in the North London derby. Unfortunately, I think that's going to give them a lot of confidence. Not just the win, the way they won as well, and the way they blew Spurs away in that first half is going to give them a lot of confidence. But look, Brighton are no mugs. They've also started the season extremely well, got a really valuable late point and in the M23 derby last week. So I think they're still also got a good feeling around the place. So that's why I think share the points.
Yeah, I think Arsenal are going to come unstuck this weekend. The last 3 games they've played has pretty much been against the 3 worst performing teams in the league so far. We're Norwich, Burnley and us. When you look at us, yeah, I know we're probably not in the 3 worst teams in the league, but in terms of performance-wise, we are literally at the bottom of all the stats. So I think they're going to come unstuck this weekend against the Brighton side, who've probably been the surprise package of the Premier League so far. And yeah, they always seem to have a hard time at Brighton as well at the Amex. I know they won last year, but prior to that, I don't think they had won for 3 years at the Amex, or 2 years at least. So I think Arsenal are going to come in for a rude awakening this weekend, and Brighton's class are going to show through with a 2-1 win, in my opinion. Let's move on to Crystal Palace against Leicester on the Sunday. What have you gone for?
2-1 Leicester.
Oof, I've gone for 2-2. I've gone for 2-2 because I've been very impressed with Crystal Palace this season. Haven't been so impressed with Leicester, albeit they do seem to be plugging away every weekend with their injuries and what have you. Jamie Vardy's scoring a lot of goals so far this season, so I can see goals in this game. Can't really pick a winner, so I've gone for 2-2.
I just think Leicester, this game might suit Leicester a bit more. They prefer it when teams actually try to attack them and try to be dominant on the ball, and they prefer to play a bit more on the counter attack. And I think this should suit them pretty perfectly with Jamie Vardy running in behind. You saw how much space Palace leave a lot of the time in the back four, and if they can find Vardy a couple of times, if they can keep it fairly tight at the back, I've gone for Leicester just to shade it.
All right, let's move over to Tottenham against Aston Villa. We've both gone for the same scoreline this week, 1-1.
None of us are confident Spurs are winning this. That basically means we think we're going to lose, but we can't put Spurs to lose.
You told me a few days ago you're confident of the Spurs win.
I'm saying I'm confident we can get a result, yeah.
Is 1-1 a result?
No, 1-1's not a result. I reckon that'll probably be the result. As in, you asked me a few days ago, I was saying it's possible we could win. You were saying hand on heart, do you think Spurs can win? I said, yeah, I do think Tottenham can win. And I said
hand on heart, are you confident Spurs are going to win the game?
No, that's not what you asked. That's not what you asked. Yeah, I'm not confident we're going to win, but I think we have the capabilities of winning, for sure. But look, I don't think we will win. It will be a draw. It'll probably be a draw. Villa are a decent team.
Yeah, the way Villa have turned a corner recently, 3-0 against Everton, 1-0 away win at Old Trafford. I mean, 1-1 could be a bit ambitious in this one as well.
I don't think it's ambitious. I don't think Villa are decent, but they're nothing. They're nothing to be like to go into the game thinking we have no chance or anything like that. I don't think a 1-1's ambitious. Like a 1-1 should be. Even given how we've played, if we can come up with a correct plan, and maybe if Nuno can tweak the system how he's playing, hopefully we can change how we've been playing and be a lot better. But we'll have to wait and see, won't we, on Sunday, how we set up and all those kind of things. But yeah, but I have gone for 1-1 because I do think Villa are playing quite well, and I think we'll get a goal, but I don't think Villa are full of goals at the moment, despite I know they won 3-0 against Everton, but I still think it should be a close game.
All right, let's move over to the last game of the weekend, West Ham against Brentford. I've gone for 2-2.
I've gone for 2-0 West Ham. I think Brentford like playing at home. I think they're a lot more comfortable. They're definitely a lot more comfortable at home than they are away. I think away from home, they might, in the big pitch that is the Olympic Stadium, I think they might get a bit unstuck, and West Ham definitely found their formula of playing at the moment, and I think they'll come away with the victory.
Yeah, I feel like in West Ham games where you think they're definitely going to win against like maybe a newly promoted side or a lower Premier League side, sometimes they do come unstuck. So I think this might be another case of it this weekend. You saw when they came up against Crystal Palace a couple of weeks ago, they drew 2-2 and didn't really play well that game. So I think it could be another repeat of that at the London Stadium, and Brentford are going to have their tails up after an absolutely brilliant game against Liverpool, albeit it was at home. So I think that they can get the result here, maybe 1-1, but I think 2-2 is what I'm going to go for. So 2-2 West Ham against Brentford, and and we've got one more game, which is Liverpool against Manchester City. What have you gone for?
2-1 Liverpool.
Ooh, I've gone for 1-1.
Gone for Liverpool to win. I think those old performances of the past, where I think first of all Liverpool look like they're coming back into form massively this year. I think people are not talking about how good Liverpool are looking so far since the start of the season. Most people focus on Chelsea and other teams. I think Liverpool are looking like their old selves almost. Not quite as good, but like, and we all know that Liverpool from a few years ago, whenever they came up against Klopp's Pep's Man City, it was always Liverpool, especially at Anfield, coming out on top. And I have a feeling that, with them looking at their best, with the way they press, with the way Man City have played last night a couple nights ago against PSG, didn't really impress me. And I got a feeling that Liverpool are going to come out on top on this one.
Interesting. I mean, I probably would have said the same scoreline as you if it wasn't for that result against Chelsea last week, but they really impressed me, Man City, last week against Chelsea. They didn't give Chelsea a sniff, really. They were all over them pretty much for 90 minutes.
But yes, Liverpool won't do what Chelsea did.
No, I know. Yes, that was at home, and yes, Chelsea and Liverpool are a completely different side. I can't really split these two sides. I think both of them are performing really well this season. Liverpool have probably been a little bit better, but I think Man City are going to bring their A game to Anfield on Sunday, and I can't really split them, so I've gone for 1-1. Let's go to our star men. Star man this week, actually.
Yeah.
Romelu Lukaku gets it for both of us. Obviously, he's probably can't really think of anyone that's a standout man apart from him this weekend, seeing as they're at home to Southampton.
Yeah, and he should be getting back amongst the goals. Been 2 games without a goal. That's probably a goal drop by his standards. So yeah, I think Lukaku will be licking his lips by looking at that Southampton defence, won't he?
And seeing as we've both picked the same star man, it pretty much makes it void this week. So
pretty much.
Anyway, that is our Predict the Prem this week. I want to know your predictions for this week's Premier League in the comment section below. Who do you think is going to come out on top this week? Is it going to be me or is it going to be Sim? Let me know in the comment section below. Like, subscribe and comment, and as always, come on you Spurs.